We are previewing NFL Week 8 here at SBR Foreign Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with Jeff Grant from the Bleacher Report. Jeff, the second game I asked you to talk about is Seahawks at Lions. Another tough game to analyze and another game with a line that looks pretty dead on to me. The Lions, of course, having all kinds of problems on offense. Stafford's making bad throws and bad decisions, and they're having drop passes and everything. Seattle, though, they're looking good, but they haven't had a bye, and Russell Wilson, not unexpected for a rookie quarterback, has been significantly worse on the road than he's been at home. And so you're either going to bet on Russell Wilson at near pick'em on the road, or you're going to bet on the Lions as a favorite with all their offensive struggles. I don't know what to think right now. What do you think of this game?
Very difficult game to handicap.
Yeah.
Probably the most difficult NFL game on the card. Based on the way that both teams are going. And Jimmy Vaccaro, I mentioned on a previous video, he had sent me, he's leaning in the direction of the Seahawks, and I can see why from all the trends and the way that these two teams are performing. He had written two teams going in opposite directions. Look for it to continue, as Seattle should pick up the outright victory. I agree with them to a point until I really looked into this game and I understand the line move. The line opened up at 3. I think it was a safe number for the books to put out.
Yeah.
The Lions still have some respect playing at Ford Field. They ran off a lot of ATS wins last year, at the beginning of the year, last year at home. Everybody still remembers that. But I can see the line move just from a sharp perspective in terms of Seattle has a few extra days off of rest, and the Lions are coming off a road Monday night game. That's huge. So that kind of alleviates the fact that Seattle's traveling from the Pacific Northwest to the Eastern time zone. So that's big. Even though that Seattle hasn't had a bye, they've had a few extra days off. Mm-hmm. But I read a quote from Matthew Stafford, and he is the most important player in this entire football game, and you already kind of touched upon it. The offense, he's going to have one of the best games of his career to win this game. They're going against a defense that can match up with Calvin Johnson. They're one of the biggest secondaries in the league. Calvin Johnson will not have that ability to just, physically beat up on the secondary, grab balls out of the sky like he normally does against smaller cornerbacks and safeties. Matthew Stafford said after the game, immediately after Monday Night Football loss against the Bears, he goes, "I'm glad it's a short week. I don't want to be sitting around talking about this game too much longer. And now that the line has moved from 3 to 1.5, the Lions have covered the spread in both opportunities as a home favorite of 3 points or fewer at home, and Stafford in those two games, 7 touchdowns combined and just 1 interception. I'm looking, once again, we touched upon it earlier in a previous video, look for home favorites if you can find a good reason. I think this is bottom basement price for the Lions. And if you look at the stats, they haven't been as bad as their record indicates. I'm going to lay the points, the small amount of points, with the Detroit Lions in this game.
Wow. Jeff, you really do know what you're talking about. Honestly, kudos to you. Yeah, I like it. I mean, Matt Stafford, if it seems like some of their problems are mental, and if they can just change that around, then in retrospect, this line will look very, very short.
And this is, there's a few other things that I like. The Lions may be a forgotten team here if they don't shape up, because I was talking with, I had mentioned last week when we talked about Michigan State, I talked to one of my Michigan contacts again, and I'm like, how close is Comerica Field to Ford Field? Because another thing in this game is Detroit's going to be fired up depending on how the Tigers do in the World Series. Could increase the home field advantage over the weekend, because the Detroit Tigers are starting the World Series in the Bay Area, and then they come back to the Motor City to play 3 games against the San Francisco Giants. So some people may not find that to be a factor. But let's say the Tigers come home 1-1 or up 2-0 in the series. You're going to have a fan base that's really fired up, and they know that they need the team knows, or the fan base knows that the team needs them in this spot. So that's another reason why the Lions, I think, are the right play.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. And I mean, if the Lions do fix some of their, not even all of them, some of their offensive problems, is Russell Wilson really going to be able to lead the Seattle offense and start trading score for score with the Lions? I don't think so. I think you've convinced me, Jeff. I think I'm going to bet the Lions this week.
I like to hear that. Hopefully I'll be adding a little money to your wallet this Sunday.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Jeff Grant from the Bleacher Report.